question for you. Why the fuck do so many people go and feel like they need certifications? And the reality is there's a much, much deeper issue that's going on underneath the surface, and it's that most people don't really truly feel like they're an authority, like they can help anybody, and that they're worthy to do what they're really meant to do until somebody else gives them that authority. And so you see this all the time with life coaches who feel like they need one more certification. And the reality is you have to understand something, is that the people you serve and the clients you help and the lives that you impact and make a difference in, the impact that you're supposed to make from that, does not get any more fulfilled because you have a certification. In fact, quite the opposite, is the people you help don't really give a shit. And so in the time you spend actually getting those certifications, the one exception being, of course, where you're legally required to get those, is that you waste all kinds of time not helping the people you're meant to help, and it creates this sort of lacking confidence, self-belief, where you don't feel like you really deserve it because somebody else hasn't given it to you. So I want you to start in a new place, if this is you, and realize that you do deserve it and that you can take it and have it right now. Now, how interesting it really is to become an authority as somebody who has actually engineered authority on purpose. So 2.5 years ago, I entered the lawyer market, and in that space, I had zero connections, I had $0. I literally knew fucking nobody. And so how do you get started and become an authority? Well, I actually did this in 6 months, and there were a couple of things that I did very, very strategically to create my authority. And this starts firstly in the belief that I already am an authority, and that I'm just then getting the credentials and social proof and things like that to demonstrate who I already am. So for me, how this played out is I actually interviewed the biggest lawyer in the United States. Now, it'd be really, really interesting. Most people don't think you can do this, but you can actually just call the biggest law firm in the US and say, hey, I'd love to interview you. They don't ask who you are or what you're about or what your publication is or what your certification is for doing the interview. Just totally reached out and did it on my own. And what happened was I was able to leverage that into a whole bunch of other things that led to getting involved in association, getting involved in speaking, getting involved and published in the biggest magazine in the industry. So if you don't feel like an authority already, then you need to work on that belief, because if you don't, you're going to have a really, really hard time actually being seen as one, because nobody else is going to give it to you. So, Frankie Finn, and may the force be with you. Over and out.